Listen, what if self-care wasn't just something you do, but a skill you could master? Sounds good, right? Well, we're going to talk about it. But first, welcome back to the break room. This is our weekly gathering for Black women nurses who want to go from perpetual self sacrifice to prioritizing self care. And I am your host, Deetra Dennis, the self care coach for nurses. And this is a space for nurses who value, honor, and invest in the full circle well being of their most valuable patient, themselves. Now, if that's you, welcome in. And if it's not you, you're still welcome because everyone is invited here to pause, reflect, and be nourished. So let's get back to what we started talking about. Today, our discussion is the everyday skills that make nurse self-care finally stick. You ready for it? All right. So listen, I know even motivated nurses struggle to maintain self-care because they lack the skills like setting boundaries, sound familiar? Managing stress, and saying no. And a study in the Journal of Intensive Care Medicine found that resilience training reduced burnout in nurses. I know this to be true. Listen, because when I was that nurse who was superwoman and who was perpetually self-sacrificing, I knew I needed support. And that's when I hired a coach, and she's a resilience coach. And she shared with me tools and techniques to help me as I transformed and transitioned to prioritizing self-care. So to level set, let's just talk about what resilience is. And my coach, as I mentioned, she's a resilience coach, and she received her certification through Heart Math Institute. So this is what Heart Math defines as resilience. So they say that resilience is the capacity to prepare for, recover from, and adapt to stress, adversity, and challenge by balancing physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual systems to align with the heart's intuitive guidance, or can we say our spirit? And this involves managing one's energy and emotions to maintain inner balance, clear thinking, and composure, effectively acting like a fully charged battery, like the ever ready bunny. I think that's Energizer Bunny, I'm sorry, that allows better decision making, and sustained performance in life. Does that sound good to you? That type of resilience? So that to me means that self-care isn't fluff. It's a skill set. And just like the clinical skills that we have, it can be learned and practiced until it becomes second nature. Are you ready for that? Are you ready to get off that hamster wheel and then just, allow self-care to be our go-to? So here are some ways, I like to keep it brief for you. So 3 ways that we can have self-care so it can be sustainable. Ready for it? All right. So self-care becomes sustainable when you learn to set boundaries. How many times can we say that? And when you set boundaries, you are protecting your energy. So allow me to add, not just setting the boundaries, but maintaining the boundaries. I know sometimes we're good about setting them, but at other times we kind of drift off when it comes to the maintaining. So this is about being consistent in whatever boundary you set. Let me give you an example. So say, for instance, if you say for yourself and you share with your family and friends that 9 p.m. is when I start to wind down. So, you won't be accepting calls at that time unless it's an emergency, and if you text me, I probably won't text you back. If it's not an emergency, I'll text you back, the next day. But that's your boundary, right? But then you might have someone who still calls you after 9 and you answer and you hold a full conversation. you haven't consistently maintained your boundary, right? So we want to consistently maintain the boundary. And it is imperative, again, not only to set the boundaries, but maintain and be consistent with your boundaries. So that's number one. Number two, let's practice some stress management skills daily, even if it's in a small way. Listen, the small habits become big rewards. So let's practice stress management skills every day in small ways. Something like journaling, deep breathing. I know. That's something small. And I'd love to know in the chat, what are some stress management skills that you currently practice? I would love to hear about it in the comments. So put down there in the comment, what are some stress management skills that you practice on a daily basis? And lastly, I know we talk about this one a lot, and it's because it bears repeating, right? So the third one is saying no without guilt. So that when you say yes, so that you can say yes to what matters. Because if we're saying yes to everything, we're wearing ourselves out. And sometimes you're saying yes when you really want to say no, but you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Sounds familiar? Yeah. We want to say no without guilt, because no is a complete sentence and doesn't require any explanation. Right? So you want to prioritize your time and your energy and your well-being by declining requests that don't align with your values or your goals. So rather than saying yes out of obligation or fear of disappointing others, let's go ahead and stand strong and solid in our no. Okay, can we do that? So again, when you say no without guilt, this allows us to be fully present and effective in the things that we commit to. This is something that I talk about in the masterclass, because I know too often in our culture, again, we feel obligated to say yes and not wanting to hurt anyone's feelings. And you can let someone down with love and with compassion, not, leaving them. You want to leave them with their dignity, right? You can still say no and protect setting your boundaries, right? And still be loving in your no. So you don't have to, I won't say disappoint, because you may disappoint them, but it is okay. But you're saying it with love and you're leaving them with their dignity. So it's okay to do that. But again, in the masterclass, we talk about that and how we can change the narrative of always saying yes. Right? So again, those three ways that self-care can become sustainable for you is when you learn to set boundaries and maintain those boundaries to protect your energy. Number two, practice self-care, stress management, daily, even if it's small. And then lastly, saying no without guilt. So again, I invite you to the masterclass, which is from Superwoman to Self-Care. It's a 1 hour. You can take it all, view it all at one time, or you can take it lesson by lesson, but it's there for you. It's time set aside for you. Remember, you are the MVP, your most valuable patient, and you deserve to spend that quality time empowering or for personal development for you. All right. So listen, I love to end with a great quote. So our quote today, lean in on this one, okay? Love yourself enough to set boundaries. Your time and energy are precious. You get to choose how to use it. And then you teach people how to treat you by deciding what you will and won't accept. So until we gather again, I wish you a wonderful week.